Okay, let's be real for a second. Have you ever, told a story about your family to impress your friends? Maybe you kind of stretch the truth just a little bit to make a relative sound cooler than they really are? Yeah, well, the main character in the story we're diving into today, he knows that feeling all too well. So, let's meet Martin. He and his sister, Cheryl, are always telling their city friends these epic stories about their Lakota grandfather, Joe Ironshell. And the picture they paint, it's pretty much something straight out of a movie. But here's the thing. There's this huge gap between the story and the actual truth. I mean, look at this. The fantasy Martin's been selling his friends is this, stately TV Indian with cool braids living in a teepee. But the reality? His grandfather is an old, stooped man with stringy gray hair who lives in a simple tar paper shack. So yeah, Martin knows the real person doesn't exactly match the legend he's been building up.
All right, so now we're getting to the part where this whole fantasy versus reality thing is about to cause a major problem. Because one day, those two worlds, they're going to collide in the most unexpected and public way you can imagine.
Okay, so picture this. Martin's at home, and suddenly he hears this huge commotion outside. We're talking a whole pack of neighborhood dogs just going crazy. So he goes to look, and there, right in the middle of the street, surrounded by yelling kids and all these yapping dogs, is the man from his stories. It's his grandfather. And Martin's first reaction? Oh, it's just pure panic.
So why is Martin so mortified, right? Well, just look at what his grandpa is wearing. He's got on this rumpled black suit, a super bright red satin shirt, a beaded bolo tie, and a big black hat with a feather just kind of drooping down. Now, back on the reservation, this whole outfit would be totally normal. But here, in his quiet suburban neighborhood, it's completely out of place. And of course, Martin sees his friends watching, and he just wants the ground to swallow him whole.
I mean, he is just completely overcome with shame. But his little sister, Cheryl, she has the total opposite reaction. She just runs out of the house with this huge smile on her face, absolutely thrilled to see him. And her pure, simple joy, it just makes Martin feel even worse about how he's feeling. But then, the family learns something pretty incredible. Grandpa is 86 years old. And get this, he has never been away from the reservation before, not once. And he traveled for 2.5 days, all by himself, on a series of buses, just to come see them. All of a sudden, Martin's embarrassment starts to feel pretty small compared to the absolute epicness of his grandfather's journey.
And that journey, well, it marks the beginning of a huge shift for Martin. He starts to see his grandfather and really his own heritage through completely new eyes. And the funny thing is, it's all because of his friends.
So for a while, Martin is totally avoiding letting his friends meet his grandpa. He tells himself, oh, I'm just protecting the old man from being laughed at. But then he has this moment of honesty, this little bit of self-awareness, and he realizes the truth. He wasn't afraid they'd laugh at Grandpa. Nope, he was afraid they'd laugh at him.
So eventually his friends kind of insist. They're like, we gotta meet this great Indian of Bellevue Drive. So when they finally come over, Grandpa is waiting for them on the porch, and he's dressed in his good clothes. We're talking a red shirt, a fringed leather vest, beaded moccasins, and his black hat. But this time, the feather is standing proudly erect. Oh yeah, he knew they were coming.
And this, right here, is the turning point. Martin's friends, they aren't laughing. They're not making fun of him at all. They are just in complete awe. One of them just whispers, wow. And in that one moment, they see all the dignity, all the history, all the strength that Martin had been too embarrassed to see himself.
Right then, watching his friends listen so respectfully as Grandpa tells them stories about his life, all of Martin's shame just completely melts away. It's gone. And what replaces it is a feeling he totally hadn't expected, this wave of immense pride.
But Grandpa's visit isn't just a social call. Turns out, he came for a very specific, very important reason. He's there to pass on a tradition, a whole legacy really, held in a small leather pouch called the medicine bag.
Okay, so to really get what this bag is all about, you first have to understand something called a vision quest. It's a really important Lakota tradition where a young man goes out all by himself to fast and pray, looking for a spiritual guide for his life. And this is where the story of the medicine bag actually begins.
So Grandpa tells Martin the story. It starts with his own father, who's Martin's great-great-grandfather. He went on a vision quest, And in his sacred dream, he found a piece of iron, what they called the white man's metal. He didn't get it at first, but he took a piece from a broken kettle he found. The tribal elders then gave him the name Iron Shell, and later on, he figured out his purpose was to become a blacksmith. He was fulfilling the vision.
So that little piece of iron, that became the heart of the medicine bag. First, it was carried by Iron Shell himself. Then, he passed it to his son, who was Grandpa Joe. Now, it was supposed to go to Grandpa's son, that's Martin's uncle, but he tragically died in a war. So now, the tradition falls to Martin. He is the next male heir in line to carry the sacred family legacy.
And that brings us to the final, really powerful moment of the story, the actual passing of this tradition, from a man who represents the old ways to a boy who's living in a very, very different modern world. Grandpa opens the bag to show Martin what's actually inside. You've got the broken piece of the iron kettle from that very first vision, then there's a pebble from the butte where Iron Shell had his quest, and finally, a piece of sacred sage. Think about it. Each item is a direct physical link to his family's spiritual history. And the rule, the responsibility, is simple but super profound. Martin has to add his own piece of sacred sage to the bag. And after that, he's not supposed to open it again. Not until the day he passes it on to his own son, keeping that chain of tradition going.
But then, Grandpa gives one last really wise piece of advice. He tells Martin that he doesn't have to wear the bag around his neck, not like his ancestors did. He gets it. He knows that in Martin's world, people just won't understand what it means. He tells him to just put it away safely. And that's so important, right? It shows how tradition can be adapted to fit the times, without actually being broken.
And in the end, Martin accepts the bag, not with shame anymore, but with real pride. He even goes back to the reservation later to add the sage, fully embracing his heritage. So this whole story, it kind of leaves us with a big question to think about. Every single one of us has a family story, some kind of legacy. What's yours? And what story will you one day pass on?